Parents on Reddit, what was your I raised an idiot moment? When they mistook a leaky radiator hose for smoke. No problem, it kind of looks the same. They continued to drive the car home thinking it was on fire, then pulled it into the garage that is attached to the house. I don't think he's an idiot, but I think he lacks common sense, because he'll take a bite of food, it will be scalding hot. He'll cry and act like he's dying, but won't spit it out. He'll say, "Mommy, it's hot." And I'll say, "Well, I told you to wait for it to cool down, or then blow on it," or something to that effect. He will say no, and then continue taking scalding hot bites, and crying that it's too hot. In his defense, his father's the same way. You may have raised an idiot, but you sure as hell didn't raise a quitter. My stepson took a bite of mac and cheese immediately after I set it down in front of him. The look of panic and pain was intense. Arms flailing and tears forming. He decided to swallow it rather than spit it out. It burnt all the way down. He doesn't do well under pressure. At age 15, at the market, she was asked to get a large chicken, and she came back with a turkey. When I asked her to return the turkey and get a large chicken, she revealed that she thought that turkeys were literally adult chickens, and that chickens were young turkeys. As parents, we try to teach our kids everything they need to know, but it's hard to see the gaps sometimes. I spelled my middle name wrong on my license application 19 years ago, making it legally my name. I didn't realize that I had been spelling it wrong my entire life until my grandfather passed a few years ago and I saw the pamphlet. I was named after my grandpa. 3-year-old is preparing for his bath. His underwear looks strange, but I'm distracted. His brother. Kid takes off one pair of underwear, then a second pair, then a third. I ask why he is wearing 3 pairs of underwear. Kid looks at me like I'm an idiot. Mom told me to put on a clean pair every day. That non-autistic kid grew up to place the highest in math in our large Midwestern city. But even in his 20s, you have to make sure you give clear instructions, as he will follow rules to the letter. I'm a parent, but my children are brilliant angels who can do no wrong /s. This is my mother's favorite story about me. When I was about 2, I climbed up on my sister's crib, jumped off and said, "Look, mommy, I'm swimming." Of course I started bawling as I hit the floor. A neighbor came over, thin walls, hearing screaming, asks what's wrong, what happened, etc. I stop crying and tell her, no, I show you, and proceeded to swim again. Definitely not an idiot, but I love this story about my kid. I used to pay the guy who took care of the yard for me by writing a check, putting it in a baggie, and sticking it under the mat. One weekend I was on the phone while writing the check, so I asked my son to put the check in the baggie under the mat for me. I went on with the conversation and forgot about it. A few days later, the guy who takes care of the lawn calls me up and says he looked everywhere but can't find the check. While we are talking, I open the door and lift up the mat, and no check. He says, "You are really great customers." So I was surprised that the check wasn't there. I was surprised too. I look around, behind bushes, under a decoration, no check. Then, I try to think like my son. I look under the mat inside the front door, and there's the check. We still laugh about it. My son came to our house to visit. He didn't live with us. We weren't home, but we on our way home, so he let himself in. We walk in, and he's freaking out about breaking our newly adopted cat or something to that effect. I asked him what was she doing. She looked fine to me. He said she was vibrating when she sat on his lap. This is where he learned about cats purring. He hadn't been around a lot of cats, so I don't know. We need to leave. Sent him to put on socks. Waited more than enough. Go find him. He's in his room, wearing only underwear, playing with Legos. He can't remember what I sent him after. But the question was about your kids, not your husband. A couple of weeks ago, our Chihuahua was horny and trying to bone his sister. I said to husband that the dog reminded me of a frustrated teen lad and he needs a cold shower. 20 minutes later, 17 years old walks in holding a distraught and dripping dog wrapped in a towel. He'd overheard the conversation and literally put him in a cold shower in March in the UK. I swear to God, raising this kid is like painting by numbers, and every so often he goes dramatically over the lines. My 14 years old son went into a dressing room to try on 5 pairs of pants. After waiting 15 minutes and yelling twice into the men's dressing room to see if it was okay, he admitted he could find the shorts he had worn in. He gave me 3 pairs of the pants and still couldn't find them. I finally had to go into the stall to look. They were balled up in the leg of one of the pair of pants. It was extremely noticeable. He swore he took his shorts off before trying on any of the pants, so he didn't think to look in them. I was speechless. He's in the gifted and talented program in our school district. A few weeks ago my son decided to use the lip of the tub to walk on while he was taking a shower. After he slipped the first time, he decided that he was going to be very careful when walking on the lip of the tub from then on. He was okay though. He looked at my wife and said, "Mom, what kind of animal is Mickey Mouse?" Somehow the school decided to put this moron in gifted and talented a month after this happened, which makes me question our entire educational system. When I trained him to not bring in any more mice, so he bought me a fudging bat instead. That kid needs a litter box. When the Peter Pan peanut butter recall happened 10 to 12 years ago or so, due to salmonella, my then 15-year-old daughter came in from school, and as she was walking past the living room, TV was on. She stopped and watched the news report about the salmonella outbreak. She got this aha light bulb moment and said, "Oh, now I get it. It's about peanut butter." All day at school I kept hearing Peter Pan was killing people around the country, and I thought he had turned bad or something, and was now a villain. I just stared at her waiting for her to say she was joking, and didn't really think Peter Pan was real, but no, she just went upstairs to her room like we just had a normal conversation about normal, everyday events. Haha. When he realized at age 17 that bread came in slices. Seriously. We were in the car and husband comes out of store with a loaf of bread and puts it in the back seat. Son says, "Wow, you can get bread already sliced." I thought that saying was so old that no one made sliced bread anymore. We were like, "Are you freaking kidding me right now? How on earth did I give birth to you?" We died laughing at him. He will never live it down. To explain, the kid has never eaten bread. He has always hated it. When he sees us eat bread, it is usually fresh bread you need to cut yourself. But, even so, in all the years I've made sandwiches / toast around him, you think he would have clued in? I have begged him to marry someone with common sense or I will fear for his life. Ha 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 ha. My son yelled at me from outside to come get his toy from the grass. He was standing in the driveway. When I asked why he couldn't get it himself, he explained he was only wearing one shoe. When I asked why he was only wearing one shoe, he replied that he could only find one sock. I was explaining to my teenage sons the difference between a credit card and a debit card, and I thought it was bad enough that I had to do that. Then I said the debit card pulls money directly from your bank account and 14yo says, "So how does the money get in your bank account? The government just puts it in there, or what?" Like, yes kiddo, I go to work all the time because the government just puts money in my bank account, lol. In his defense, his dad works for the government, so it might have just been poorly phrased on his part, but I definitely do not, so huge facepalm moment for me. My 10-year-old isn't exactly an idiot, but he doesn't pay attention to jack shite 10 years old, and he still manages to put his underwear on inside and backwards. Thank you for watching Internet's Funniest. Please like, share, and subscribe.